word cosplay means the art or practice of wearing costumes to portray characters from fiction, especially from manga, animation, and science fiction. The act of performing as a fictional character for personal entertainment began with science fiction conventions that have been around since the early 1940s. Many of the participants would dress in futuristic garb or fantasy costumes. In the modern era, cosplaying has grown to include genres such as anime, reenactments, pop culture fandoms, and steampunk, to name a few. To others outside of the niche, the cosplayers are seen as a geeky and antisocial culture. But to those who participate, they say there is so much more that makes it all worthwhile. Here are their stories.
In a literal sense, it's costume play, but I think it's just a personification of a character.
I get to be a Disney princess. I mean, doesn't every girl want to be a princess when she grows up at some point, or a marine biologist or something? You know, I get to pick a character and be her for a weekend, just completely embody everything about her for an entire weekend.
It's my passion, so since with all the modifying, it's nothing, it's a love.
To me, it means an art form of being able to express yourself without being like actually artistic. Because I can't draw, so I take it out on like a more seamstressy type of way.
Once you find a niche and stories and just talking to people, you know, it's fun to help with the illusion and make it entertaining for them and sometimes educational.
It's kind of a relaxing hobby, you know, actually making the costume, it's just sitting down and crafting for the sake of crafting. And it is an important part of my life because my best friend does it.
I mean, we give up a lot. We give up time with our family. We give up time for work.
Well, I don't give up time with my family because my parents do the events. It is a family event for me. And as far as sacrifice, like, I don't feel like sacrifice is really counted as sacrifice if you're trading it for something else. Like, for us, it's not a sacrifice to go through all that hard labor and the long drives and the extra money and the gas prices and everything, because we get to come up here and we get to spend time with family and friends. And even if my biological family's not here, these people, once you become a community, we're a tight-knit group. We're all very protective and loving of each other. I mean, I have more aunts and uncles and brothers and sisters and cousins and friends here than I could possibly begin to name or count. And that's a big part of why a lot of people come back. Like, you say, oh, it's such a long drive, it's so much money for gas, we have to pay for a hotel room, and then you're like, but when am I ever going to see so-and-so again? And that's what makes it worth it.
Yeah.
They're our family.
Straight up negative no. There are some people like protesting cosplay outside of Fanime.
At Fanime, they're always there. They're standing at the door. They're like yelling at you as you go in. But, and I think it's really interesting because they're really like religious extremists, and I'm religious, and I'm Catholic and I cosplay, but I don't see it as I'm praising this person or I'm putting them on a pedestal or something like that. I see it as like when you dress up for Halloween, you're dressing as something you like, either as a joke or as a serious or as like just something you like to do. But they are, I think they have a misconception or misunderstanding of it. I think they're very misinformed. People with that kind of point of view, or who are yelling at people when they haven't really taken the time to talk to them and understand them, I think that they already have their opinion, so I'm not going to bother trying to change it.
A huge problem in the cosplay community is you'll get a lot of con creepers that'll like to touch you or say inappropriate things, or like I do a lot of like kind of skimpy characters, and people will be like, oh, you're dressing like a slut, so you deserve people to touch you, and it's not really okay by any means.
Antisocial.
Actually, this is a very social community, and most of us have day jobs. A lot of people think we're like a traveling circus, but 5 days a week, I'm a network administrator for a local government.
I think people just assume you're a huge nerd. Like, the moment the words Renaissance Fair come out of your mouth, you see people kind of go, oh, you're one of those.
Cosplayers are not antisocial in the least. Like, you'll go to a convention and you'll just get like the most random people coming up to you and just talking to you and like wanting to hug you. Like, yeah, you'll get like a few people that are a little antisocial, but I mean, who isn't antisocial?
Most of us that do Ren fairs, or we call each other Rennies, and we trust each other, and we know our mindsets, and people that don't understand why we do it. They don't understand the whole concept.
Like, hey, we're a lot of really cool people, but, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, if I offer you ice cream and you don't want any, then that's just more for me. So it doesn't bother me anymore. But yeah, I think there's a little bit of, I think just because people don't understand it, they haven't experienced it, it's weird to dress up. Like, there's a little bit of,
There's always going to be people who aren't interested in it, and that's fine. I don't need for you to be interested. I don't want for you to be interested. I love it that you love it, and that's where I leave it.
A lot of people don't realize that male cosplayers are also kind of like victims of harassment, because people think that just because you're a male, it's okay to like touch you, and like random girls will go up to my boyfriend and like want to touch his boobs and his abs and stuff, and he's like really uncomfortable with it. And so they're treated a lot like women are, but people just don't see that. It's harder to see like popular male cosplayers like compared to like popular female cosplayers. Like you'll go on Facebook and there's like hundreds of popular female cosplayers, and there's like maybe 3 or 4 like popular males. You get a lot of girls just kind of like running around in like lingerie type things and like saying, "Oh, this is my Pikachu cosplay," and then all the cosplayers or all the photographers flock to them, and they're like, "Oh, this is the best cosplay I've ever seen." I'm like, "She's in a bra and a mini skirt." You get a lot of female to male crosplayers. Well, we call them crosplayers, and it's just like, a girl will bind her boobs down and like cosplay as a guy, and there's like no problem with that in the community. It's like once a girl starts to like change the sex of an existing character, that people have a problem because it's not canon.
At Fanime, as far as I know, most people think it's really kind of funny, or it's really awesome when they see a character's gender changed and it's changed really well. I think people are kind of impressed by that, because I've seen a lot of female versions of male characters, and I think I've seen a couple of male versions of female characters, and I think, as far as I remember, they've all gotten pretty good reaction. Haven't gotten a negative reaction so much as a positive one.
I see a lot of like when an African American girl wants to try to cosplay as a character who isn't African American, she gets a lot of like crap for it.
I guess you should stick to your own race when you're cosplaying, but the way I see it is if you can do a really good job, then you could do a really good job. It doesn't really matter if you can pull it off and make it your own.
People don't realize there's not a lot of African American characters, plus like why should race play a role in it anyways?
The actors are not getting paid to be here. This is a very expensive hobby that we do for your entertainment as well as our own.
I used to be really, really shy before I started cosplaying, and it's kind of opened me up a little bit, because getting to pretend to be like somebody else kind of allowed that person to be like a shield to interactions with people. And being able to do that is kind of like, okay, people are okay. They're not going to hurt me because of what I do. Like, cosplaying, again, is weird sometimes. So being able to kind of have people open up to me has allowed me to open up to people. So cosplaying has basically reinforced self-confidence.
The trade-off is getting to do this all day long and see those kids and the parents even, and that just absolute joy when you go, "Hello," and they just light up from the inside out. It makes it worth it for me.
When I'm sitting up in the tower and the mom points and the little kid is like, that is worth all of the hard work and all the money spent and all the time driving and all the lost sleep. Like, you forget all of that in those moments. I had a little girl take like a running start at me and launch into my arms to hug me yesterday, because she genuinely believed I'm Rapunzel, which tells me 2 things: that it was absolutely worth it, and then I did a damn good job on my costume.
Yes.
It's a lot of fun.
Dragon!